his goal was to make the Center on Philanthropy an integral part of the total university, and not to have it as a Center on Philanthropy in some corner of some department in some building. And that's the same vision that Kathy and others have here. Because whatever your major is, you will be a philanthropist if you are a leader. Because if you're a leader, you're going to be giving your time and talent beyond the demands of your paycheck, certainly. And you're going to be giving of some of your material resources as well. So you need to understand how the concept of private initiative for the public good is a part of every career, whether you're in law and medicine or business or political science or whatever. You need to be engaged with society at large. And one of the realities is that you very soon can begin to lose touch with life where it's lived by most people. And so you need to deliberately, discipline yourself to somehow live differently than you might because of the affluence which you're privileged to experience. And so that's a great challenge. Bob Payton just lived philanthropy. He was committed, he had the right values, he was a person of faith, and he simply made a tremendous difference. Now the second one is a guy named Rushworth Kidder. Anybody acquainted with Rushworth Kidder, the Institute for Global Ethics? Rush Kidder was a journalist, and with his latest part of his professional career was with the Christian Science Monitor. And in the early 1990s, he did a global study, traveled around the world, because he was troubled by the lack of consensus as we looked at countries and regions and nations and ethnic groups and so forth. Are there any things that bring us together? We can talk about all of the things that sort of are divisive, but what are the things that bring us together? And he identified 5 values: honesty, caring, respect, responsibility, and fairness. And he left the Christian Science Monitor, started an Institute for Global Ethics, and is now, as the best of his books for an old farm boy, is How Good People Make Tough Decisions. And if you want a thoughtful expose about how, whether you're in business or you're in teaching or you're in social work, wherever your life takes you, how good people make tough decisions, Rush Kidder. He's gone on now and has done ethics, and I'm sure in the Leadership Academy you get into ethical issues. Because you'd have to say, well, the big part of our credit crunch today is what? The product of greed. Greed in high places. And it's intolerable. So Rush Kidder has just, I think, moved on as a leader in the whole business of ethics in politics, ethics in personal life, ethics in business, ethics in philanthropy. Because if you want to be abusive, you can be with charitable dollars, whether you're on the recipient end or the privilege of being the giving end. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but people who have a vision and a commitment and I'll say a passion for making a difference in relation to some issue which they really think is important. The last question, what time does class adjourn?
I'll do a quick one, Russ. You've had a lot of power, actual positional power and real power because of the strength of the Kellogg Foundation.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your own philosophy about the use of power?
Well, that's where you come right into ethical concerns, it seems to me. And there is positional power. There is the power of control of wealth and resources. And it seems to me comes back I'm a person of faith, and I always have the trouble of how do I live every day by the values that I think I understand from the Bible. And I come back, finally I had sort of sorted out values, and then Rush Kidder clarified them a little bit. You got to be honest, you got to be caring, You got to be respectful, you got to be responsible, and you got to be fair. And so I just very conscientiously try to use that. I tried to use it in my CEO role with employees. There was no unimportant job at the Kellogg Foundation. In some issues, mine was the least important. If the air conditioning went out, I couldn't do a thing about it. Somebody else knew. So every job was important. I greeted every employee who came to the staff. We had an open door policy at the Kellogg Foundation. Every phone call was answered, every letter was responded. And we tried just to be engaged, never to impose, but to be collaborative with those who wish to accomplish something important. Now, the foundation couldn't do everything, so we had certain areas of issues in which we concentrated, but we were looking then, we never had the answers. People had the answers. People, their institutions, their organizations, their communities had problems, and if we could be helpful, we wanted to be helpful to them. And so we worked with a wide range of community organizations to the prestigious institutions of this country and abroad. So power is again, a tremendous privilege and can be easily misused, sometimes in very subtle ways. So.
Thank you very much. Now you know why I wanted Russ to come and speak to you, because on that warm summer day in August, this past August, when we 4 or 5 folks went to Russ's home, and he told us his background, and he told us about those 5 values, I thought, you have got to share that with us, and you have. Talk about sharing, you know, being able to impart something of lasting value. I think you've done it today. You're a teacher. This guy is really a teacher. As a small token of our appreciation, we'd like to give to you a Hallenstein Center tote bag, and it's got some interesting things in it, including Ralph Hallenstein's book, Intelligence Was My Line. And you can hear more about Ralph's very interesting life, too. He inspires what we do here.
I've got to get that a signed copy.
And also wanted to give you a Hallenstein Center mug, and what's in the mug is great. It's Andy's Mints, which of course he's also responsible for. Sweeten your day. So the Andy's Mints, and I'll just a little pad and some information, a Constitution, which you already know, and all that kind of thing. But we just thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it, Russ. Thank you.
Let me close with one line. Okay.
Yes, please.
Orchard View School, long time ago, learned 4 lines that I've never forgotten. Margaret Wilcox was our teacher. These lines go like this: I'm only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. What I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I will do. So if each of us will simply do what we can do and ought to do, we'll make a difference. And I wish you Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are adjourned.